2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Good morning, guys.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake
Nazi.
Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Stand against hate. I'm James Hake. This is the Hake Report. It is Veterans Day or Veterans Day or Veterans Day. Thank you guys to the veterans, at least the good ones, not the ones that try to lord it over us with, I served my country and what do you do? Stupid people. You get that a lot nowadays, more and more, and that is such a disgrace to the real veterans that actually did stuff and that actually love the country. Because there's a whole lot of people that don't have any love, and they could be veterans, they could be cops, they could be politicians, they could be civil servants, like the stupid people in the CIA and NSA and deep state, all these people that are bureaucrats, diplomats, and then the liberal media act like they're so, like they should be so respected, like they served the country. They got paid like buku money, to use a Jesse word, right? They're like well paid, and then their cushy jobs, government jobs, are known to be like very cushy. I mean, yeah, there's some challenges in every job, right? And there's like risks, like you risk your life with serving in the military and stuff. But come on, please don't be all looking for praise and acting like you get more, like you have somehow deserve more respect than the president of the United States, which the liberal media is constantly mocking. Please give me a break. But happy Veterans Day regardless. Thank you guys. It's Monday, November 11th, 2019. It's almost 9:05 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're still getting used to this, getting rid of daylight savings time. We gained an hour, but it's still tired. Live on Jesse Lee Peterson stream on YouTube, dlive.tv/Jesse Lee Peterson. Make sure you go over to Jesse's channel and follow him there. It's an excellent, if you're messy, don't bother going because it's an excellent, right now, positive vibes atmosphere right there. So only go if you're of goodwill. Good people of goodwill over there. And evil people of goodwill too. Be nice, right? And mixer.com/JLP Talk. Shout out to CLC. Always supportive there. Thank you, man. I see the American flags. And we got some good church questions. Did you happen to read the church questions to Jesse, Joel? Today I kind of gave them to you late. Just check that out. Just a thing to double check. And thank you guys for the Streamlabs support. And Periscope. What's up, guys? And I got some answers to the biblical question from, I think by message or something, from Chris. Chris from Kansas. Thank you, man. And I think he's busy to answer it. I think I'll pass those along to Jesse. Check them out. I'll check them out later. The biblical question, Jesse Lee Peterson has some interesting biblical questions. And I do have some calls. I have an interesting minimum wage call right now. But first, let me quickly get to this quick thing about Right Wing Watch. I mentioned it yesterday on my show, on my channel, which you can check it out. Many of you probably have. Hake channel on YouTube or the Hake Report on everywhere else. I even stream on Twitch. That's cool, huh? They haven't found me yet. They banned Jesse right away. It's crazy. It's mass flagging by idiots. Haters. They hate love. They hate truth. But I have a couple of screenshots of Right Wing Watch, and you heard me kind of shouting Nazis over the beautiful song rendition by Trevor Wesley of the Hake Report theme song. So this is an article that I came across, well, I was told about by Right Wing Watch, which is a far left outlet. Radicals, they're full of hate. They hate Jesse Lee Peterson and Trump and Christians and whites. By Jared Holt, who is well known amongst the people that are against actual defamation, right? But he's a defamatory person. Jesse Lee Peterson praises neo-Nazi podcasters. And these podcasters, who knows what they are, right? He's referring to Asmodor's podcast. Jesse Lee Peterson was interviewed by Asmodor. I mentioned that. Show it again. And it calls Jesse a right-wing commentator and pastor, which is true. That's good. But and he's wearing his T-shirt. Oh, the wall going up. But he was interviewed by Asmodor. And then as I opened up this article by Right Wing Watch, this pop-up comes up: stand against hate. From white supremacists to the radical religious right, right-wing extremism is on the rise. Pledge to stand against hate. And then you put your email and add your name to be, supportive of the far-left right-wing watch. Evil anti-American group. But it's just funny because you see these people, so-called white supremacists, which are basically white advocates, right? I don't know that any of them think that they're supreme. If they really did, then they would be like in charge, right? They wouldn't be losing the country. And then they go after the so-called radical religious right. And some Christians admittedly do go a little extreme or crazy because they see the evil of the world, and that evil gets inside them, partly because they're poorly raised, right? The evil from their parents get inside them. We all know Jesse explains it really well. Jesse Lee Peterson, that is. And then some people go like a little nutso, or nuts, and they become nutty. And we've seen and heard from people like that kind of commonly. But Jesse Lee Peterson is not one of those. He's like a real guy. He's like full of love for everybody, or has love for everybody. And so Right Wing Watch stands so-called against hate. No, that's not true. They fight so-called hate and love with their own hate for the truth, for goodness. So they're idiots. And speaking of more hate, GLAAD, I have a quick headline for you. GLAAD, which is originally called the Gay and Lesbian, GLAAD, right? Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation. Well, I read on this on Hake News last week, Thursday or Friday or so, that they have over 10% of TV hosts or TV characters, so-called LGBTQ people and AIDS people. Some of them have HIV or AIDS. Well, they want 20% of series regular characters to be LGBTQ, or LGBTQ, as Trump called them, by 2025, according to Daily Wire. I just saw that headline and thought I would mention it and comment briefly on it. So I remember reading or listening to Jesse Lee Peterson's show from 2007, the radio show, back before we did, or what? Yeah, exactly. They want the radio show. The gays were claiming, without evidence, that 10% of the population is homosexual, right? Something like that. And really, people estimate between 2 to 3%. Some people say as high as 4 or 5. And it does increase the more so-called cool you make it and the more corrupt you make people, because corrupting people makes them even more corrupt. And they, once you cross one line, this line doesn't seem such a bad line to cross anymore, because, I'm not suffering anything. It's kind of like when Adam and Eve ate the fruit. They're like, oh, what happened? And then later on they realize they're naked. They didn't realize, and they didn't die right away. Like, I'm not suffering, because that wasn't so bad. You do evil things, like you kill your conscience and your soul more and more and more. Your consciousness, too. And people do this all the time. In L.A., you see people driving drunk all the time without even thinking about it. You notice that you become very corrupt throughout your adulthood. People say kids are corrupt and selfish and all that stuff. Maybe so, but the adults are way worse. It's just the kids are more honest. But the adults are corrupt and nasty and filthy. So GLAAD wants more corruption. They want to inundate you with 1 in 5 characters being homosexual. Or else what? Or else they'll go after you as being so-called homophobic. or transphobic or LGBTQ-phobic. So they're evil. I want to start, and so I just noticed that GLAAD is so-called against defamation, right? Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation. They go by GLAAD only anymore because they want to be inclusive of the transgenders and intersex and asexuals and queers and the bisexuals. Because before it was just gay and lesbian, right? Idiots. So they want to be against defamation, right? But really they're pro-defamation. They defame decent people all the time. And there's some indecent people who are real anti-gay. Like, you're full of hate, but you're at least anti-gay, but you're still full of hate. Same thing with Right Wing Watch. Same thing with the ADL, the so-called Anti-Defamation League. Nasty, evil group. Anti-American, anti-white, anti-Christian. Nasty. So they're a defamatory Anti-Defamation League group, right? So I want to start a group. I'm going to call it NAGDM. Or I thought NAG, or NAM. I decided to go with all three. NAGDM. That's Nationalists Against Gossip, Defamation, and Mess. And mess, I got that word from Jesse. It's like a black word for just messiness. And messiness is when you're gossiping, and it's kind of redundant, but I like it all, right? I want Nationalists Against Gossip, Defamation, and Mess. Because you'll find out that there are a lot of, like, people supposed to be on this nationalists, right? Supposed to be on the side of what's right, but then they'll do this infighting stuff, and then they'll say things about people that really don't need to be said, probably lies, or even if it's true, you don't need to be saying it because it's really gossipy or defamatory. People calling each other, like, raging alcoholics, people accusing each other of being homosexuals and stuff like that. To me, that's mess. And these are some of these people I really admire and like. I mean, the people that are saying this stuff, but they're still wrong for doing that. And then I was arguing with one, I would almost call him a buddy, like a listener on the show, a fan of the show, I think. Batman Bear, he called somebody a sodomite, right? And he didn't mean it that he was calling the guy a homosexual. He said he called him that because he was saying that guy is pro-gay, promotes homosexuality. And for that reason, he was calling him that. But I'm like, no, because most people are going to understand that as calling them actually homosexual, which if they are or not, you shouldn't be calling them that, especially if they don't call themselves that. Because they have the right to be in the closet. We want people in the closet so that they can be quiet and repent. Jesse doesn't call people homosexuals then when they're not. Ms. Brownskins. So anyways, NAGDM. Let me know what you think. And so, yeah, it's the real people against, because I want to call out all sides. My first targets are the ADL. They're very defamatory. And the GLAAD, very defamatory people. They're evil. And they're not supporting the people that they pretend to support. The ADL pretends to protect Jews from defamation, when in fact they kind of encourage it by being so ridiculous at times. Probably most of the time, actually. They're anti-Christian and white. And then GLAAD is outright evil. They're promoting homosexuality as fine, and it's not. It's the worst thing for the homosexuals, kind of, to accept wrong as right. So anyways, I want to talk about this briefly, at least, about this Don Jr. and Charlie Kirk and Don Jr.'s partner or girlfriend being at UCLA, promoting his book at a TPUSA event. I want to touch on that, and I want to touch on these riots in China. I have some clips for you, because I want to give you a little bit more background and visual of what I reported about with the shooting. Another so-called protester or rioter got shot. And also this, if I have time after the calls and everything, I want to talk about this pastor who was accused in this movement called #Church2, right? Church TOO. And that's kind of like an extension of #MeToo. So you know it's evil. Just mess. Anyways, let me get to this minimum wage call. Michael, out of Mississippi, first-time caller. How are you, Michael?
All right. How you doing, Jane?
Doing fine. Nice to hear from you. First time caller
right.
on my show, I think.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Nice.
I wanted to talk to you about the minimum wage, and I don't think a lot of people, I do agree with you about it. I don't think a lot of people understand that if the higher the minimum wage, the less people will get hired.
Yep.
And a good example of that is I'm a truck driver, and ironically, truck drivers don't have a minimum wage, but they're always hiring.
Yep.
So, and it's kind of, I used to work for a union company who had like a certain, it wasn't a minimum wage, but it was like a certain benchmark that they would go because they would negotiate the contract.
Mm-hmm.
They're not always hired because there's a certain mark that they won't allow the workers not to get paid. So I just wanted to throw that out there that I don't think a lot of people understand. That's why when you go into places like Walmart and there are like 32 registers, but maybe only 5 of them are open because they have a minimum wage law.
Yeah.
And it affects the blacks a lot more than other people, other classes of people. It affects pretty much everybody, but because it affects entry-level jobs. Because if I have to pay you $15 an hour for a job position that's only really bringing in $10 an hour, well, I'm going to hire you to do more work because I have to pay you more. So really, it's very anti-worker than it is good for the worker because if you notice, the higher the minimum wage goes, the harder they work the workers because they can't hire the same amount of people.
Yeah, totally. It's a mess. And they're going to automation even more so. It's only spurring on the automation. They're doing...
Absolutely.
In McDonald's, they have like these kiosks where you just punch in your order yourself and no front register person necessary, practically. There's some people who still go to the register. But and with the increase of people that are antisocial encouragement, right? People are too shy to even talk to the register person. They'll just go straight to the computer. It's a mess, man. You're so right.
It really is. And I mean, I don't think people really. And when I was with the union, I saw a lot of that firsthand, and I started to really see it for myself. And I realized, wow, this is really not as good as it seems. It sounds good, but the results are not. And but that was pretty much all I wanted to call about. Do you mind if I give a shout out to a couple of people in the chat?
Yeah, go for it, man. Michael?
Shout out to Brandon Johnson, Get a Job, Fran Rushi, Blazing Hog, Queen Butterfly, and everybody else that I can't remember because some of those people have some crazy names.
Yeah.
So,
appreciate that, Michael. What's up? I didn't know that Fran Rushi, is it Fran Rushi or Fran Rushy? Anyways,
I have no idea.
I don't know either,
I'm black,
but
so.
she's cool. Right on, man. Appreciate that call.
Yeah, no problem, man. Keep up the good work. I'm subscribed to you, so I get all your notifications.
Nice.
You're doing a good job. I've definitely seen you grow. I've been watching Jesse. In fact, I was watching him when you were the producer back when he had Thomas Sowell and Walter E. Williams. And,
nice.
People like that. So I've been watching Jesse for a while. So I've definitely seen you grow, and you're doing a very good job, man. I definitely.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Michael. Take care, man.
Yeah, no problem. You too.
All right. Yeah, he's right. It is affecting the blacks first, and the blacks consistently, I think it's less now, but consistently over years have had almost double the unemployment rate of the national average. So the average American has what, like 2%, 2% of them are unemployed. The blacks, it's like 4% or 5%. So it's crazy, and it affects them first and foremost, and this immigration thing affects it even more because you have the influx of so-called immigrants and illegal aliens and so-called refugees increasing the workforce artificially. We don't need to be bringing them in. We need to be encouraging people to have babies, not encouraging free birth control, free condoms, free abortions, and free everything everything wrong, right? And encouraging women to go into academics and get their careers and degrees and all that stuff. and pushing people to go to college and learn nothing except for social justice crap and a little bit of extra knowledge to make them feel proud of themselves and think that they know better than everybody else. It's only messing with the competition for jobs, and then it's a mess. And it's so wrong because more people would be starting businesses and hiring more people. And say there are people that would be willing to work for less. Say like a lot of older people don't need all that much income because they've been paying into their so-called Social Security so long they can live off of that and other things. But they want to work and they want to get paid a little bit for that work. And then so they could get hired $2 an hour, work at a gas station. There used to be full service gas stations in the past. Some states still have that. But I doubt you people like Joel even know what that even means, because it's been so long that they've had self-serve gas stations, which is, I'm fine with it, right? I can pump my own gas. I'm a man. but it's so wrong. It is so evil. It's meddling with people's right to contract, freedom of association. You have a right to work for however little or much as you want. You have a right to pay your workers however little or much as you want. It's between them. So anyways, man. And these increased regulations, thank God that Trump is decreasing regulations, make it harder for smaller businesses to compete with the bigger businesses that can afford to accommodate all these stupid regulations. And they have all these stupid communist, green is the new red, right? Green things that you have to follow with. In like California, they have the Southern California Air Quality Management District. When you're spraying your cabinets with this clear coat stuff, and the clear coat doesn't even work, it falls off the cabinets after a while. It starts flaking. It was such a mess when I used to be in that industry. I mean, part of it was we had like these illegals who were working, or Mexicans. They had their I-9s, right? I-9 means you are legal, but it's easy to get those things made, right? And they go to MacArthur Park, and that's in Los Angeles, and get their forged Social Security numbers and cards. So it's so much fraud going on. But the point is, like, they don't even know how to spray, right? But they also have inferior product to spray with. So it's better to just get the cabinets from China. Even though it's poor quality cabinetry, at least the clear coat's strong. It's not going to flake off. Anyways, what a mess. Let me quickly get to Steve, and then I'll get to this China stuff and other things. Steve out of Los Angeles, California. How are you doing, Steve?
I'm doing well. How are you, Hake?
Doing fine. Nice to hear from you.
Yeah, I'll make this quick, but I was listening to your show yesterday. I called in, but I had to call in today because I saw that video of that black teacher punching at that Mexican kid from last year.
Yeah.
And you know what I have to say? I think I agree with the teacher.
Okay, go on. You know what? Let me explain what the situation is for those who missed my Sunday show. And Joel just stepped out of the away from his desk, so I can't have him pull it up. But I'll have him show it to you guys in a minute. Or maybe this boy will do it. Nick is coming in to save the day. I don't know where he went. But yesterday on my show, I played this video from November 2018 with this male band teacher or something, old dude, 67 years old or so, black guy, had glasses, but he looks pretty big. And this white guy, I think it's a white kid. I say kid, but he's like 14, 15 or so. Gets in the guy's is like face to face with the teacher, and you see the teacher just go, poof, and then they start getting into a crazy fight, and the guy's like, the teacher's really winning the fight, but the kid gets like he gets like this and gets one shot in. But the backstory is supposedly the teacher called out the student for not having his proper school uniform, right? They're enforcing these stupid school uniforms. This was in Maywood, just here in South LA area. So what happened was, according to the report, the kid called the teacher the N-word. You know, and I blah, blah, blah. And supposedly threw a basketball at him. And, but by the time you see this, it's a different teacher, man. It's the male one. We'll show you the clip in a second, but I'll let Steve give his take, and then we'll show the clip. Does that make sense? Maybe it doesn't, but we'll do it that way. So you don't see the basketball being thrown or anything, which I don't understand how that got to that point. But he was asked to leave, he wouldn't leave, and then the teacher punches him. So explain what your position is, Steve, and then we'll show the clip and let you guys decide.
Yeah, I saw the uncensored clip.
Okay, nice.
And basically what the conflict is that the kid is walking into the class late or something, and he starts accusing the teacher of saying to the other students that the teacher had said offhand, kind of like making fun of the kid. He said, I'm going to beat that kid's ass one day, something like that.
Wow.
And the kid said, oh, that's what you said about me? He's like, come on, my N-word, come on, my N-word, do something about it, come on, my N-word. Like, he didn't call him, like, the N-word, like, in a specifically derogatory way. He was more saying it like a colloquial sort of like, what's up, like that.
Yeah.
So they kind of, they didn't really
said
accurately represent it.
So the kid said that.
The kid was saying that.
Yeah, right, yeah. So,
and the teacher was just,
okay. And what?
Yeah, and the teacher was kind of like being restrained and was like, you have to sit down right now. I'm warning you. I'm saying, but the kid wouldn't relent. So he kept pushing the buttons of the teacher.
Right.
And then it got to the point where the kid was just so unbelievably disrespectful and out of line that the teacher just slapped him.
Slapped him or punched?
Both. Yeah. I mean, he just wailed on the kid, like you said. But I guess my point and why I agree with the teacher is that, the way I see it is that this kid was not following God's law. He wasn't following man's law. So the only law that's left for him is the law of the jungle. And when the law of the jungle comes down on you, that's just what happens. So what I think needs to happen in that case is that for these wild, like the schools today are out of control. Like I have a friend who's a substitute teacher, and he tells me that the kids are wild. Like they don't listen to the teachers. They curse at them. They do everything. So I think what we need to do is, because these kids are not listening to these kids have no respect and they have no fear of authority, God nor man, that we need to reinstitute the paddle. And we need to have, like, capital punishment from the teachers to these bad kids, because the teachers have no recourse.
Not capital punishment, corporal punishment, man. Capital punishment means execution.
All things that we need to paddle back into schools, because this is where we are today. But our school system has regressed for a variety of reasons. I'm sure you know as well as I do.
Yeah.
So we just need to put the paddle back in, and I think that's the best way to prevent teachers from being unrestrained violence. We need to allow some sort of like legal violence within the schools and not violence, but I mean, punishment.
Right. Corporal punishment.
Because these kids don't listen to anything else but violence. That's the situation as it is.
You make a very interesting point, man. I personally think that they were, I don't dispute that the kid was most likely way out of line, and nothing what you said surprises me. But that teacher was, in my opinion, out of control. And Joel, are you able to play this clip of, it's clip 10-4, the one from 2018 in Maywood, California. It's like ghetto area. It's like Mexican, I guess black. And then this white boy grew up amongst that, so he's saying the N-word. It's no problem. But look at this clip and see what you guys think.
A teacher decks a student, and the two go at each other in a horribly disturbing fistfight. All of this unfolding in band class in front of a room full of mortified students, some of them recording this stunning scene with their phones. The beating is nonstop, with the teacher wailing on the student, even using an object, maybe his phone, to pummel the kid to the ground. Students and an adult try to pull the student away, but the teacher is relentless. The student cannot escape.
Like, I was just scared for the kid, and Probably for the teacher too.
These two students were in the room when all of this went down. They
Look at
spoke
that.
to us with their parents' permission. They, along with other students, say the fight began with the teacher telling the
Dude.
student he was not wearing the proper school uniform. The student responded with a tirade of racist profanity. Those words
Wasn't
can be
racist.
heard here on the video before the fight, but they're so offensive, we are not airing it.
It was just like back and forth, and then that's when the teacher just decided to throw a punch, and then that's when everything happened.
Students identify the teacher as Marston Reilly. At his Orange County home tonight, his wife told our Stacy Butler she had not spoken with her husband.
I don't know anything. I don't even know what happened.
The
what I
fallout
would
from
say.
the video is just beginning. Parents are furious.
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
But why did it have to escalate to this point, though?
I think something needs to be done. That's way out of hand.
The district did not release a statement in connection with the incident. They say this is a personnel matter. As for the student, he was taken to the hospital. The teacher was arrested, held on a $50,000 bond at the LA County Jail.
And you know what else happened after all this? They started a GoFundMe, like, I don't know, students did to support the teacher. And they raised, like, I saw a Daily Mail or Independent headline. They raised $33,000 for this teacher, I guess, for his legal stuff. So, Steve,
Yeah, but
Go for
James,
it.
what I'm saying is that the teacher is the students were on the side of the teacher because
Yeah. Oh, yeah, true.
The kid wasn't, okay, but not that it matters, right? It doesn't matter. We live in a liberal society, but the kid was not white. He was Mexican.
oh, he was Mexican.
So-
Okay, he was
was
white
Mexican,
Hispanic. That makes
wasn't-
more
I mean,
sense that he would speak so freely about the
kid was
N-word.
basically like the kid was basically a thug. He was a gangbanger. He was like, "What's up, man? What's up? What's up?" Like
Right.
acting the fool. So
Yeah.
the kids basically were probably happy when the teacher punched that kid because this kid was ruining their class. Like you can see the situation. Like we've all been there in class when there's that one kid
Yeah.
who's just ruining class, like acting like a gangster, like being a constant class clown. And I just think if we don't institute the paddle back in public schools, we're going to keep seeing more and more and more of this because the kids have gone crazy. So if we don't want to see crazy violence in schools coming from the teachers, we need to institute some sort of like legislated violence.
Yeah.
That's just my position.
That's you. I think you might be right about that part. I still think that they were both wrong. I think the teacher snapped, and I was wondering if Nick is also pro-bullying, but I wonder if the N-word got to him at all, because there has been a training and a brainwashing for when non-whites use the N-word. I mean, especially whites, but Mexicans start using it too very freely. That's where I learned it from. And I think that they have that brainwashing about the N-word where they'll overreact to it. And this teacher, I don't know, maybe he overreacted to that too. But he definitely went he went too far.
Yeah, I mean, he for sure went too far. I'm just saying that we're going to see more of this unless we institute some sort of real solution.
We already are seeing more of it. That's not even the worst one.
And the way the liberals are reacting is that they're like, oh, this teacher was so wrong. This teacher's wrong. But instead of looking at the actual situation at hand, which is when you have a disrespectful young man to that level, any adult grown man, like you have to expect the average man to react that way. And because that's just the society we live in. We live in a society of like anger and emotions. And unless we have some sort of structure to deal with that sort of like that extreme level of disrespect, we should expect that to happen more and more. So
I appreciate you, Steve. Very good points.
Yeah.
I can't really argue with you. Take care, man.
Cool. Thanks. See you later. Bye.
All right. Let me just show. Do you have that other clip, Joel? I want to show that other woman going crazy that I showed yesterday on my show. This substitute teacher over in Texas, which this came out this year. Skip, my buddy Skip the Snake, he gave me a tip about it because he likes when I cover out of control blacks, or at least he says he does. So this black substitute teacher attacks a supposedly white female student, 15 years old, I think it was. I think that one must have been 15 because he was a sophomore. Or no, this one that I'm about to show is going to be a sophomore. The black female substitute teacher wails on this guy. This is a silent sort of CNN video. You can show it right now if you have it. I got it from CNN. Was this substitute teacher, just hits, like full-blown hitting, like athletic hitting. A student, have you found it, Joa? The one in my yesterday's folder. Okay. And then she tears the student out of her desk and then throws her on the ground, and she's like face down on the ground, and the teacher stomps on the back of the girl's head or neck or back or something. Evil. And she was arrested for like aggravated assault. Let me know when you find it. You can just show it and let me know. There it is. There's this, look at that. Poof, poof, poof. Pulls her out, stomps her. That is evil. And so the students called the front office or whatever, telling on the teacher. Look at her. Dang, that's messed up. So who knows what that student did, but she was immediately removed after students alerted school officials. 32-year-old Tiffany Shadell Lankford arrested. What the heck? Not you. Student was a sophomore, female student, taken to the hospital. Aggravated assault. So this came out last week or 2 weeks ago or something. And then there's a female school principal, of course, right? Took swift action. And then this chief communication officer for the district says, no excuse. Crazy. That's from CNN. So it's a mess. But anyways, I just wanted to show you that to you guys. People, both the kids and the adults are getting out of control. And so all this talk about so-called police brutality, if I have the chance, I'll show you guys from China. But no, it's like human being brutality. And these people, a lot of them, are bringing it upon themselves from the cops. Because, yeah, exactly, Ms. Brownskins, I don't know what the student did to prompt this kind of craziness from this out-of-control substitute teacher. No excuse, right? But I don't know what the student did. I would like to know why, too. I haven't found out. I'll try to find out, Ms. Brownskins. This is a nice question. Quickly, I'll get to Maze, my favorite caller, out of Dayton, Ohio. How are you doing, Maze?
Hello, James. How are you today?
Fine.
Well, minimum wage, what can you do with it? You can even buy a sandwich with making them. What is minimum wage now?
Minimum wage is way too high. I think in L.A., they're trying to bring it up to, what, $11, $12 an hour, which is ridiculous. So they got it. Nationally, there's a minimum wage of, what, 7 or something? I don't know. Yeah, but they need to get rid of it. They need to get rid of it, and then costs will go down for everybody.
And replace?
Yep. Huh?
And replace it with what?
Replace it with whatever replace it with whatever the worker and employer agree to.
Well, whether the worker and employer, well, maybe what if it's more than $11? What if it's $25 an hour?
That's fine. If they agree to that, that's fine.
What? But you can't even pay your rent with $11 an hour for where you live.
Minimum wage is not even meant to be paying rent. Get rid of minimum wage. Get rid of minimum wage, and rent will go down.
Really?
Yep.
I guess food going down too.
Yeah, food will go down too.
Really?
Yeah, because people are getting overpaid to like package food and all that stuff.
They getting overpaid? They're being overworked, and then they got to work 3 jobs.
Maybe so. I don't know. I don't know if there's such a thing as being overworked.
It doesn't make any sense in America. Anybody even say that minimum wage should be. Well, how's it hurting black people? I don't understand.
It's hurting black people because there's less employment available due to minimum wage cutting out a whole section of jobs. There's like probably an infinite section of jobs that could be available and in existence, but they don't exist because minimum wage exists.
But you want to work the Mexicans for cheap, and then you want the black people to work for cheap.
They can work. They can work for as cheap as they have the right.
You know what's hurting those people?
Huh?
Can I tell you?
What?
What's hurting them? You got to have certifications. You got to have license if you're making money, and then they got to fix it to who got to determine if you can have those licenses and those certifications. Who got to do that? Is it the black people, or is it the other people that don't want you to make money, to put them out of business?
I don't know what you're talking about. Maze.
Do you need an example? You know, when they were doing hair, and then they had to come up with certification the way they got when they were braiding hair, and they were making big money.
Ridiculous.
Then they had to come up with certifications because they were making too much money. Then you had to have license. You had to do all of this stuff in order to keep making.
They should get rid of.
But they were the only ones doing it.
Aren't you glad that Trump is getting rid of regulations like that? They're pushing stupid regulations.
No, because you're getting rid of regulations. Because all this medication is killing people and all this different stuff that's harming people in the food every week. No, I'm not.
That's not what. Those aren't the regulations that he's getting rid of, though.
Oh,
Mace.
yes, it is.
No, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just assuming. ASS, UME.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, you are.
Really, James? Just like you sit and talk about black people all the time. We can watch y'all on the internet all day long.
Huh?
We can see what you do now. They don't have it. That's why y'all stuck up in the brain, you know, like Boss Hog or Hog, whatever his name is.
Blazing Hogs.
He's messed up. Yeah, Blazing Hog. Tell him that we were denied the right to read. He wasn't. So when it comes to us.
You were denied the right to read?
No, our people were denied.
Who's your people?
And he was riding a slow bus, so he got left out, so that's why he's angry. And the other ones are angry.
I haven't seen any anger from. I haven't seen any anger. You're assuming. You're assuming that Blazing Hogs is angry. I haven't seen any anger from Blazing Hogs.
Oh yes, it is. He's angry.
I haven't seen it. How do you know?
Really? And the kitchen table, even what feeds you every day, I don't have nothing to do with us. And then you got us coming on with this idiotic stuff, blaming themselves for something that's not even their problem.
Right.
So when you get farm subsidies, when the farmer gets subsidies through the government,
we should get rid of some of that too. Definitely.
Do you?
Yeah.
Huh?
We should definitely get rid of some of the farm subsidies. I'm for that.
Farm subsidies is welfare too.
Yeah.
So tell Blazing Hogs to get it together.
Whites do it too. Therefore, blacks can suffer and be idiots too. That's amazing.
No, I want them to stop blaming black people because black people fault for everything, and we're hurting ourselves. Which if we hurt, you're gonna hurt too.
Okay. Yeah, blacks do hurt whites sometimes. Yep, it's true.
Get it.
All right, Maze.
When it comes to crime, we can see y'all crime too, because that's why the wonderful whites of West Virginia tell Blazing Hog to look at it and tell you about it. That's the real thing.
Maze really becomes what she hates, huh? Like she can't stand when whites are pointing out black crime. So she's like, we're pointing out white crime.
You don't want nobody to see yours. Even the news don't even show the things that you do with it and undercover.
No, blacks are the ones.
Do a lot of stuff.
Maze, blacks are the ones.
There's a bunch of
Can you get the phones? Max, blacks are the ones with the no snitch culture. White people snitch on each other.
Well, I'm not talking about no
and everyone
snitch,
else.
I'm talking about reality. Everyday
reality
life.
is no snitch culture.
Well, that's what we're looking at in the government. No snitch. If you snitch, you got to go, and we gonna hate you. That's your motto.
Yeah.
Got to hate everything you don't like, and then I'm talking about godly.
All right.
Talking about telling people the truth. The truth getting a lot of people messed up, so they better leave people alone. It's not bothering them.
Whatever, man.
I keep telling y'all every day. Forgive people for what they never done to you, and then you'll be happy.
Yeah, exactly. Like you so-called being not disallowed to read.
The truth is that you can't accept it.
All right, Mace.
You like the truth is, and then you can't accept it. So once you accept the truth, it'll make you a better person.
Right. That's true.
History and all. You can't do what your grandfathers did.
History is irrelevant.
Again. Get it. Blazing Hog, get it.
You don't know what our grandfathers did.
Yo, you know.
This is the same woman who thinks you
we
think that.
Relatives.
Yeah, I know that you don't know because you're assuming ASS UME. No. This is Maze. Hold on, Maze. I'm gonna put you on hold. I put her on hold because she won't stop. Maze said without evidence that Bible go-to guy is old enough that he probably spit on black people. That's how crazy that's such a crazy thing for you to say, Maze. Shame on you. Right? There you are. James, you're back.
James, look up the Red Summer of 1919.
Even Bible go-to guy was not around during 1919. Shame on you. Shame on you. Maze, I got to go. I'll talk to you again.
So you have a good one. And then Memorial Day.
Yeah. No. Veterans Day.
What? Veterans Day. Y'all don't even understand that either.
Are you a veteran?
Celebrate. Y'all always no.
Okay, just wondering.
But you don't understand it, and I don't understand what I want to say about that. You got Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, and all of those people that ain't never been a veteran, acting like they done did something for the country. They ain't did nothing but ran them out. Y'all follow them all tooth and nail.
Hey, somebody got to do it. All right, Mace, take care.
Yeah, have a good.
All right. So before I get to calls, I will get to you guys. Hang tight. Oh, Blazing Hogs, I didn't see you, man. Sorry about that. I will get to you guys. So Don Jr. and Kim Guilfoyle and Charlie Kirk were at UCLA yesterday. But if you went to church, it's more worthwhile because they didn't even do a Q&A. So Charlie Kirk, as you know, I've covered it on this show, is the guy in charge of TPUSA. and he's not all that conservative on same-sex marriage, adoption, homosexuals adopting children. He said that he was fine with that. He's defended stapling a green card to every diploma. That's a hypothetical promoted by Democrats and rhinos. We don't need people who are coming here, foreigners who are coming here and getting brainwashed in our far-left liberal institutions to stay here and then vote Democrat and vote socialist. That's the worst thing. We need to close down the schools and defund public education entirely. It's ridiculous. And by the way, the government funding is what drives up the costs, by the way, just a side note. It also drives up the cost of housing, subsidized housing. Anyways, so Charlie Kirk, he's been hounded so much by these guys that are conservatives, Catholics, so-called groypers, that he didn't want to, I guess my speculation is that he didn't want to risk embarrassing or distracting from Don Jr.'s book promotion, right? Fair enough, like he doesn't have to do a Q&A, but people there were there for a Q&A because they were slated to be a Q&A. So they shouted Q&A. I don't have the clip, but I have a really quick screenshot. I was watching, Fuentes was streaming it, right? So I have one screenshot, and you see Kimberly Guilfoyle, who's Don Jr.'s girlfriend, which he shouldn't be doing that, but it's his life. Gotta suffer. Following in the footsteps of his dad, right? The past mistakes, right? So anyway, she's shouting at the crowd, you guys got to be more respectful. We would take your questions, but you're distracting and nobody else can hear. Be more considerate. You're not making your parents proud. And to me, that looks kind of shameful, the woman shouting at the people rather than one of the men taking charge, but whatever. It was a mess. Like, they had to close the thing early. I think they left the stage because of so much disruption. So there you have that. And it's just kind of interesting. To me, I think they totally should have taken the Q&A. It would have been, but, you know, they have the right not to do it. But that's kind of what they prompted was shouting by and some of the, according to the Washington Post, those were conservatives. And I'm not surprised because a lot of people are really amped against the TPUSA people because they're very much at the forefront. They're in with the Trump, supposedly. But they're not really supporting what Trump is about or what real conservatives are about. Not promoting this homosexuality stuff is right. That's a disservice to everybody, including the homosexuals. And they're also not for this immigration thing. They're promoting this immigration that's going to destroy the country because these people don't have our values, as Jesse always says, Jesse Lee Peterson. So it's a bad thing right now. I'm going to have to push off the riot stuff to tomorrow. I think I'll cover it tomorrow, guys. But just know that we're not getting I don't know. These guys are getting themselves shot. And I don't know, maybe they have a right to riot even because they're fighting for like self-rule, I guess you could call it. But these cops, you can't call that brutality when this guy takes a swipe at the guy's gun. It's not a wise thing to do and then gets himself shot. And then other protesters and rioters lit a guy on fire who was yelling at them saying, "You're not Chinese," because he's yelling at some of the protesters. I think there's like some evil people infiltrating even, maybe it started out as a just movement. I don't know. But to me, it seems like a liberal thing because liberals riot. Liberals come in mass numbers. Conservatives are usually the few, the strong, the proud, right? Kind of like the military. So let me quickly get to Preston, first-time caller out of San Diego. I have a lot of callers I want to get to. Go for it, Preston.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much.
I am a first-time caller. I just have a brief question, then I'm going to get out of here.
All right, go for it.
As we have just heard from the goober before me,
Maze?
the African-American community is not doing very well. Do you think that a return to the culture prior to the late 60s is possible? And if it is possible, is it likely? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Preston. I guess I'll hang up. I will answer that. I think that it is possible amongst the few, and the few can shame the many, because that's what Trump does. Trump is like one man, and he's shaming the whole rest of the government. That's why they're attacking him. Some of them are shaping up, you know, like that. At least they'll go along with him because he is a man of authority. And when you are real in what you're preaching and living it, then you are a man of authority. That's what Jesse Lee Peterson is, because he actually lives what he says and preaches. Trump seems to be that way. He stands on the truth and doesn't back down on, you know, as he sees it. There are other guys out there, and more people of all races are waking up, and not just waking up to like knowledge stuff like, oh, the liberals are evil and stuff like that. But they're in their own personal lives, they're forgiving and becoming self-controlled and all that stuff. And that, when you do that, then you have real confidence. You actually have like God behind you or in you or something. And you see the people that are real. And I think that is powerful. And that makes people, it shames people. It makes them realize that that so-called righteous living is possible. It opens your eyes. I didn't know this was possible, to actually live right. And so it's inspiring when that happens. And so, yeah, I think maybe not on a mass scale, but on the few are going to do it. The few are already doing it. People are bringing shame back. Like this whole stop having sex out of wedlock was like, some people think that's a totally lost cause, a foreign concept. But no, people are actually waking up to that. And pornography too, and homosexuality, and hating whites and all that stuff. People are waking up to it and fighting back against it. And cowardly whites are dropping their cowardice, some of them. So that's cool. Blazing Hogs, what do you want to say from Dayton, Ohio, Mays' town? What do you want to say back to Mays?
Hello, happy Veterans Day to
Thank you.
all the veterans out there.
Yeah, happy Veterans Day to everybody.
Do you notice how I must still be getting under Mays' skin?
I think so.
I'm full of hate and anger.
Is it true what she said? Are you angry?
No.
Right on, man.
No, I ever since 4 years ago, since I started Jesse, I've dropped all that.
Nice.
You know, I've done everything by listening to him, and it's all starting to, you know, pan out. So
right on.
I love all.
That's cool, man. Are you originally from Ohio?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have a cool accent.
But I was born in Wyoming.
Okay.
And I'm from here, and I'm a mixed mutt about like a lot of people in America, but I'm white. I'm Mexican, Indian, Irish.
Okay.
But I don't understand what she was even talking about. It was hard to comprehend. I'm was in the middle of something, but
right.
I heard her talking, so I got on there. But hey, shout out to Mays and shout out to Earl. I love them.
Yeah.
They're old, but they're still listening to Satan.
Yeah. They're listening to Satan while he, like Jesse is coming in their ears, but they're not hearing it because they're listening to Satan, reinterpreting it. It's crazy. Haters.
No, I've listened to today's show. It's been a great show. Gosh, there's a truckload of people that woke up today.
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep telling Marcus Jones, chalk him up. Chalk another one up. There's another one, Marcus.
Nice.
He got a chalk today.
Yeah. That's cool,
That's all I had.
Well, thank you, man.
Yep. Doing a great job, Hake. Keep it up.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Shout out to Nick and all the people in YouTube chat. Best chat this side of heaven. Later.
Yeah. All right. Take care, Blazing Hogs. KT out of Washington, D.C. KT, how are you? KT, are you there?
Hey, James.
What's up? There you are.
James, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Oh, great. Perfect.
Nice.
Great show. Enjoying the show. I just wanted to make a comment about TPUSA and the whole conservative issue. This whole, the whole fights that going on within the conservative movement.
Yeah.
You know, I think this is Tea Party 2.0 that's taking place, and I think we need to expose as fake conservatives and get rid of them. Just like the Tea Party did, exposing those fake rhino Republicans and, taking them out of office.
Interesting.
And, yeah, so I think, I've been hearing a lot of conservatives say, I don't consider myself conservative anymore because I don't know what this conservative movement is all about. They support homosexuality. But I think that's a weak way to go. That's running. That's you're kind of giving up. We need to stay and reclaim what conservatism is. We need to reclaim that. And we need to reclaim that by exposing these fake conservatives who support homosexuality, who support all these who support all these bad ideas. And it was a great. I love that video you posted on Jesse's show about. I think that was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Making gay okay.
Right. I love that too.
I loved it. That was a very, very, very profound ideas. Some things I had never thought of, and actually bought the guy's book, and I'm reading the book right now.
Right on, man.
Very, very insightful.
Yeah. Yeah, Making Gay Okay is a book by a man who came on Jesse Lee Peterson's show in 2014 when I was producer, by Robert Reilly, I think. Robert Reilly. And he had served in a foreign type of official, about foreign policy, I think, in the Reagan administration and stuff. But he's like a Catholic, and he's talking about, just in common sense terms, how they rationalized homosexuality to be okay. And he's not promoting it as okay, but he's talking about how they made it okay in the eyes and minds of the blind people and the darkened minds of the people to accept homosexuality as right when it's totally wrong. And so,
Exactly.
I really liked that interview. We had like an excerpt, and I came across it. I'm like, hey, we didn't put out the whole thing. And you know what? It's funny. I found out in my emails a couple of years ago, somebody had emailed requesting the whole recording. And I might have uploaded the whole recording on SoundCloud at that point, but I'm glad that I was able to put that interview out there. So check that out, guys. It's a good interview between Jesse and this guy, Robert Reilly, about that book.
Right.
Yeah, man.
And
I appreciate that, KT.
I was reading his book. I was reading this part. I'm still reading chapter 1, and there's a section that talks about how Obama, during his inauguration speech in his second term, said, he will not rest until homosexuality and homosexuals get rights, the rights they're supposed to have in America.
Yeah,
because that's what America is all about. That was just amazing.
They already had their rights to be right. They didn't need any more rights. It's so evil. It's just kissing up to the worst in human beings. It's so wrong.
Exactly.
It's tempting the worst in human beings. I appreciate it, KT. Yeah.
Thanks, Hake. Thanks for taking my call. Keep up the great work, man.
All right. Take care.
All right. Take care.
Yeah, man, it is evil. And that's partly what this GLAAD is trying to do, pushing 20% of TV characters or TV series characters to be LGBTQ. That's ridiculous. I'm gonna also get tomorrow to this pastor who was accused in the hashtag Church2, barring anything overly exciting that I have to get to. Hopefully deal with China and hopefully deal with this hashtag Church2 mess that, the malicious, vengeful, evil, Satan-listening former, women are accusing probably maybe unwise pastors who got involved in their younger days with these people, like youth pastors. I'll tell you the story tomorrow. I'm not sympathetic to the girls at all. I'm not particularly sympathetic to the pastor either, although I just know that men are ridiculously maligned for just doing normal stuff, and the girls never admit what they did wrong or take responsibility for it. Even that Virginia Roberts Giuffre from the Epstein scandal. She didn't even particularly, she's not getting prosecuted for what she did. She's identified as a victim. And early on, I guess she's a victim of her parents because she became a runaway, right? The world never is good at calling out evil because the world is evil, calling out evil, and only evil results. So, yeah. All right, guys. Talk to you tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have a smoother JLP show tomorrow. I think we will. Yeah. All right, guys. JLPtalk.com, JLPtalk.com redirects to JesseLeePeterson.com, the radio section, and then the HakeReport.com for my stuff. Podcasts go up later today. And make sure you check out Church of Jesse Lee Peterson, Bond or Bill and the Man YouTube channel. It's an excellent channel. All right, bye, guys.